MMA Showdown. Now, the Ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan DuCross.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Wars with your boys, the DuCross brothers. I'm Tristan DuCross. Along my side, as always, is my partner in crime, the one and only Sean DuCross. The realest combat sports talk show right here on Facebook Live, as well as on YouTube.tv. Sean, the dust is settled. The veil's been lifted. May Mac is done, and it's over with. History in the making. 6.5 million people tuned into this. And no, we're not counting the illegal streaming of over 3 million people illegal streaming that fight. Did it really live up to your hype?
It did. It did everything that I said it was going to do, except for deliver on our prediction of McGregor knocking out Floyd Mayweather. But other than that, it nailed everything to a T. We said that if Floyd Mayweather was going to win this fight, he had to weather hell. He did that for the first 5 rounds. How the judges gave the first 5 rounds to Floyd Mayweather boggles my mind, because we went back and forth. Clear as day. It was evident that he was dominating the first 4 rounds. Then you see Floyd Mayweather start to turn it on a little bit because of the fatigue was starting to settle in. You started to see the tide change. Then we just said it was just going to be a matter of time. That Floyd Mayweather was going to go to boxing one-on-one and educate Conor McGregor on what it is and what it takes to be a boxer. I've said this before and I'll say it again. When this first thing started, I'm not sure if I said it on the show, Tristan, or not, but one of the several conversations I had going into this bout, one thing I said was that trying to box versus trying to do boxing in an MMA fight, it's a little bit different. If you've never done it, it's a little bit different. I'll give everybody that. So the only thing that was different to me was that, yes, you know what? Was this new to Conor McGregor? Not really. Was the stamina different? Absolutely. That's where he got tired. That's where he got sluggish. It wasn't because he didn't lack the technique. What was the technique there? No. By far it wasn't.
Rudy Lara brought it up in it. It's called the sweet science for a reason, you know? And he absolutely agrees, says that Mac won the first 4 rounds. But what I liked about this fight is that I told you, Sean, I've tagged you in. I can't even tell you how many videos I've tagged you in. Was that I told everybody that when you're looking at the Conor McGregor Floyd fight, and you, like I tell you, dude, I love looking at old time footage and getting a clear idea of what a fighter's doing, why he's doing certain things. That's how I break down fights. And the way that I looked at this fight is 2 fights. One was the fact that, Sean, what was it? The Muhammad Ali Frazier fight back in 74? How crazy was that to watch?
It was
that fight compared to this fight.
And again, we discussed that. I mean, I brought up the parallels of it once this whole thing was starting, was that this was the biggest fight along the lines of Foreman versus Ali. That's just the reality of it. But people were saying, oh, that's insane for you comparing the 2 fights of this magnitude. Why? Ali versus Foreman, Rumble in the Jungle, okay? That was the biggest boxing bout in the history of boxing in that era. In 1974, that was the biggest time. That was unheard of, to go take it to the Rumble in the Jungle. That was something that was never anticipated. So when you look and see what's going on, and you see, hey, you know, this fight, did you know that this fight also was the first time that millions of dollars were on the line? You got Muhammad Ali and George Foreman both signing on for $5 million for that fight. That was the biggest payout in boxing at that time. This was just the same thing. This was the biggest payout in boxing history. The parallels are there. You posted, and it was shared all over Facebook earlier. Ricky Hatton versus Floyd Mayweather.
Yes, sir.
Ricky Hatton at the time was classified as, oh, you know what? He's the biggest pound for pound striker in the division. But going into that fight, they said, well, he's what is it? What was his nickname? Fat Hatton.
Yep.
He didn't take the fight seriously. But what did he do in that fight? He took the fight to Floyd Mayweather. Okay, I was one of them. And everybody that's listened to our show, I'm not a big fan of Floyd Mayweather. I don't like the guy because of things he's done outside of the ring. That's where my issues come from with Floyd Mayweather. But I digress on that one. But one thing I will give credit where credit's due is that whether I still will never say he's the greatest of all time. You'll never hear that come out of my mouth. Good, bad, or indifferent. I will never utter the words he's the greatest of all time. He's 50-0 because he beat up a non-boxer. He beat up a guy who he beat up 3 guys twice.
Also, think about it this way,
He fought guys
too.
past their prime. So, to me, I can never justify him being the greatest of all time.
And I can't do that because I will just classify him as one of the greatest businessmen in boxing.
Okay, that I could give it to you. But when you go over and you look at this fight of Ricky Hatton, and then you look the parallels against what Conor McGregor did, and the interesting thing about that one is, hey, what happened? Conor McGregor was the powerful striker. Conor McGregor was Ricky Hatton. Conor McGregor was the young George Foreman. The 25-year-old guy, but in this case, 28, thinking that he's got the puncher's power. He's running through everybody. And Muhammad Ali's like, dude, I'm the greatest. I'm the best there is. I'm the best there ever was at this moment. No matter what my age, no matter the fact that I was out of boxing for 3 years. Well, newsflash, Floyd Mayweather was out 2 years out of boxing. Then, oh look, Conor McGregor comes walking along the lines, comes up and says, I'm the best ever. I'm the rising star. He was George Foreman in this. And then when it realized that you talked about the rope-a-dope. Well, in the George Foreman era, in that bout, what did Muhammad Ali do? He sat back and educated the world on how to slowly tire out the opposing boxer. And what did he do? He created the rope-a-dope. Come on, hit me. I'll weather everything you throw at me because at the end of the day, you're going to tire yourself out because you're carrying much more muscle mass. You're carrying that you want to throw much more power shots. It goes to show is that when you look at the beginning of this, Mayweather said it. I'm surprised I didn't pick up on it. Mayweather said it, and that was that he said, this is a boxing fight. This is man versus man. And when it was brought to his attention that that Conor McGregor was going to come in weighing 170, what did Floyd Mayweather say? I don't care how big he is. This is a fight. That's what this is. He showed the world that that's what that was. Bravo for Conor McGregor for getting in and doing the unthinkable.
And I agree with that assessment. But the one thing that I had a problem with Conor McGregor in this fight and where this went was the fact that this is what bugs me, okay? We're in the combat sports talk world. I'm going to get to Derek Downey and Michael Zahn in the chat room here just in a minute. But my issue with this fight is that we looked at it for what it was. We agreed for what it was. Was it a circus? Sure, whatever. Say what you want. This fight, though, to have MMA fans versus boxing fans, dude, why can't you just be a fan of combat sports? Why do you always have to pit two against another? This is not a gang-style fight. You don't need the Bloods versus the Crips. You don't need none of that. This was a combat fight. This was a strategic game plan by Floyd Mayweather. This was a guy that knew that this guy only fought 25 minutes. This is a guy that knew if you got him into deep waters, he could take the fight. That's smart. That's strategic play. He played Mayweather like a fiddle. He baited him into his game plan.
I think
I
believe they both baited each other into their game plans because you look at it McGregor made Floyd Mayweather switch 3 times in that fight. We saw the patient Floyd Mayweather. We saw a southpaw Mayweather.
We saw an aggressive
Mayweather.
Dude,
and when you talk
nobody's
about
talking about this, Sean, but didn't he look like a smaller, younger version of Mike Tyson? Hands up and moving forward through the guard.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is that when you're talking about that Floyd Mayweather was very smart, he was. He was very smart because of the fact that he knew that he was in a fight. He knew that his approach to Conor McGregor needed to change. It did that. So that's where he was smart in the play rather than everything else. So one thing I will say is that you got to give credit where credit's due. Both guys were smarter beyond belief.
Dude, 3 times Floyd made an adjustment to go after Conor. Conor made 1.
And Conor shouldn't have been able to make Floyd make those adjustments on paper. That's the evolution of the athlete in this day and age. We've said it on every show for the last decade. Almost, it seems like we've been doing our show. Is that if you want to be great,
you have to evolve as a fighter.
And whether you win or lose, McGregor evolved in the evolution of his striking, the evolution of combat sports. He evolved it in one way or another. You've got to take it for what it is. These guys, you saw it all over Facebook as soon as it happened, bashing McGregor.
Right?
You saw people saying, oh, well, this was Floyd. And it's like, you guys got to go on both sides of the spectrum in this moment.
There's not just one about, oh, Conor did this or Floyd did this. That was not the case. Look at it for a boxing fight for what it was and the strategic game plan of what it was. I don't want to hear about, oh, well, bring Floyd over into an MMA octagon and see what he can do. No, we're not going to play that game because Floyd's a boxer. He's not capable of doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's not capable of doing wrestling. He's none of that. He's a boxer.
Through and through.
Conor McGregor has techniques of boxing, of wrestling, of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He has plenty of background to
make the transition
and
be somewhat comfortable in doing it.
Right. And, people in the chat room want to know about, well, do we agree with Oscar De La Hoya and what he said about the fight with Floyd Mayweather and Conor? Dude, I think personally Oscar De La Hoya should have just kept his mouth shut because, Sean, he was a disgrace when he was caught in fishnets.
But still.
So let's not talk about a fight being a disgrace.
That's calling like, what is it? An apple and orange, whatever you want to call it. Stupid analogy, I get it. But there's no point even saying that because then you could say the same thing about Floyd Mayweather. Why are we even talking about him with the fact that he got caught years ago for beating up his wife? So there's no place in it, Tristan. The thing that what Oscar De La Hoya was saying in this moment is I do agree. Okay, what got Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor's payday? What got them their payday? The talking.
Yep.
So knowing this is the biggest magnitude pay-per-view this side of a decade, what more would you rather him do? He did a smart business thing. Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions is fantastic in the promotion of athletes. So you look at it and was like, I know exactly what he did. People all got up in arms about, oh my God, he blasted everybody on Twitter. Yeah, because guess what he got you to do? He got you to talk about Canelo and Triple G. Because he's going to latch on to what people are talking about right now. Because now Canelo is still relevant, win, lose, or draw, against Triple G because of the fact that Golden Boy threw him out there.
Derek Downey in the chat room says, is he just mad because he was the 1 in 49?
Everybody's mad because
is, right?
he was. Everybody seemed like they were the 1 in the 50-0. But
one was like 2 and 0 and 2 in the 50.
I don't disagree with his approach with that. The only thing I disagree with Oscar De La Hoya's approach was him saying that Canelo will knock out Conor McGregor in the first round. Like, if you're so adamant about Conor McGregor fighting in boxing and being a disgrace, why would you say that Canelo would knock you out in the first round?
Why would you throw out Canelo?
Why would you make that a relevant statement?
And I've even heard David Lemieux's name be latched on to about knocking out Conor McGregor, and it's like,
because it's Golden Boy.
Dude, Golden Boy, man. If you were that adamant that you threw out that Floyd and Conor were a disgrace, and you were adamant about that, then why are you throwing out two of your boys' names saying that, they would knock him out in the first round? Like, why are you even chirping now? Why are you popping off at the mouth for that?
Why are we even here? That's the biggest question that you go into.
But then
this.
Look at the undercard, okay? I was more fascinated with the undercard too, because the prelims were, nobody, and I mean nobody, was in that stadium before the main card started. But you had Badu Jack, and my whole thing.
And we'll talk about Badu Jack later on because of what he does at the end of that fight.
Yep. But Badu Jack, he beat up Nathan Clivery.
Like he should have.
And it's funny because I saw this guy walk out with the WBA title, and I'm like, dude, that's a fake champ. You gave him a title, a WBA title for what? So he could face Badu Jack to make Badu Jack more relevant, to actually take on a bigger time fight? That's the problem with boxing. I have more of an issue with that side of boxing than I do about what we saw and what transpired right in front of our eyes on a pay-per-view event between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
And that's one of the conversations I had prior to this fight with one of the guys that we know, Blake, who people knew that I was hitting him up on Facebook all week during the McGregor fight. I was tagging him in everything left and right. But that was one conversation him and I had, which was that's the thing that I don't like about boxing, is the fact that 90% of boxers are put into mismatches in fights to put them up on a pedestal,
to build them up
to the fight fans. Like, to me, is that if you want to build somebody up,
do it like PBC.
Do it like PBC, or make a special for them. Let the fans into the fighter's world, like MMA does.
Yeah. Try to educate the fans on why these fighters are champions or are going to be champions, why they're relevant in their weight class. Badu Jack to retire Nathan Clivery. Nathan Clivery's been on his downside decline since he turned 30. So the last, 3-4 years, this dude has been absolutely 100%
Thank goodness
irrelevant.
He retired. Thank goodness he retired and called it a day.
But Badu Jack did exactly what he needed to do. Finally, after the last couple of years, we saw a game plan that he stuck to, and a game plan that almost looked like that, hey, he finally put it all together. He had a great fight against a guy that he should have had a great fight against, and he put him out in the 5th round. Badu Jack finally looked like a complete fighter coming out of this fight. And it took him how long? Now he's in the light heavyweight division, and now he wants super fights. We're talking about more people calling out super fights now in boxing. Like, Conor McGregor started it over in MMA about super fights.
And when
now
you
we're
look,
talking in
Tristan,
boxing.
and when you see that the Mega Fight Fight Book says that the Mega Fight ended up doing $2.6 million and $6.5 million in pay-per-view buys, which you just said a few minutes at the beginning. When you get numbers like that, anybody's going to try to latch on to that. That's why it's interesting that I wonder how many people actually know out there that you've got crossover after crossover being talked about now. You got Andre Ward, who is a light heavyweight, but is 160 to 168 in weight, and in which he says that, when you see this and you see what's going on, Andre Ward says, hey, Dana White, call me. He wants to fight UFC. He said, well, I want to be the first crossover from boxing to MMA to cross the bow and say, hey, you know what? Let's see what's going to happen.
Right?
He wants that opportunity because apparently he's been in the MMA world. His family is involved in the MMA world. So you're talking about earlier, how many people actually have that background to make that transition from boxing to MMA?
And Andre Ward is one of them. But a lot
It'll
of people
be
don't
interesting
know that.
to see, what the avenue is and where the direction goes. We
Right.
said Zuffa Boxing is going to come.
Yes, it's just when. When is it going to come? When is Zuffa Boxing going to hit the tracks and run? We're hearing about in about 3 to 4 months that we'll start hearing more about Zuffa Boxing. We'll see how much of that is actually true. But boxing is in a unique world, and we're going to talk about the Miguel Cotto farewell fight tour that he has going on. The super fight in the making that it revolves around Badu Jack. So sit tight real quick. More with the Sports Warriors right here on Facebook as well as on YouTube.tv. We are your boys, the Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross, and this on my side is always my brother, Sean Ducross. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Sean and Tristan Across the Sports Warriors. Check us out on Facebook Live and YouTube on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or you can visit our website at www.ducrossbrothers.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. The Sports Warriors, the Ducross Brothers. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, my brother, Sean Ducross. And it was an incredible week for boxing, for the simple fact that we finally got the circus out of the way. We have let that dust settle. On the same night, we had Miguel Cotto go one-on-one with Kamegi and win via unanimous decision, which has been an incredible feat in itself because he made it perfectly clear that this was going to be his farewell tour. He wins that fight and says there's only one fight left on his contract. Okay, well, who are we talking about? Who does he want to fight? He says there's only one fight that he wants, that he so relishes that moment. And that's getting the winner of Canelo and Triple G.
Well, because if you go back and you look at the Canelo fight and versus Cotto, Cotto had that opportunity to maybe potentially defeat Canelo, but he was gun shy in that fight.
Yeah,
he was afraid to throw that left hand. He was one of those guys that lived and died by that left hand. And he didn't throw it, and he didn't engage that often with Canelo. It was as if in that moment he was a little bit worried and a little bit lackluster with, shoot, is he going to hit me with that power shot right now? Am I going to feel it? How much am I going to feel it? So, if Cotto wants that fight, he's got a long road ahead of him. If he steps up to the plate and wants a rematch with Canelo, if he steps out of the shadow of Triple G. But the question is that can Canelo, when the lights are on, in the biggest fight, in the biggest magnitude, is he going to show up? I get that at the age of 22, when he took on Floyd Mayweather, it wasn't the best opportunity for him at that time. But are we going to see that one where, as he's gotten older and matured, he's ready? Or is he just all for show, like he's doing in his post about him striking out in front of the Staples Center? Is he all show? We know Triple G will come to play and come to dance. That's what he does. We know he'll show up. We don't know about Canelo. That's the thing. Canelo, the pressure on Canelo has been mounting for the last 3 years.
Exactly. Is it just me, or has that pressure that has been put onto Canelo, is it too much to overcome at this point? Is it pushing forward too much? Like, I'm starting to think about whether or not this is actually good business for Canelo. We're looking at a guy that is short, stocky, compact, versus a guy that has the length, the speed, the tenacity. Is it a really good fight that if Miguel Cotto gets the winner of that fight, I would think that the matchup would bode well for Cotto in his farewell fight to go against a guy like Triple G instead of Canelo, because both of them are almost the exact same fighter. When you think about it, the speed, the angles, the moves, it's all the same when you're looking at Cotto and Canelo.
It is. Just one's younger, one's older. So if you're talking about a farewell tour and looking at what's lying in front of Miguel Cotto, you like the idea that he gets to go out on his shield. Like the names in front of him now that he has the WBO junior middleweight title, the names are endless in the middleweight where he can go out on his shield. A rematch with Canelo. You probably, if Triple G knocks out Canelo, you probably don't want to see that fight. But another guy could go out on his shield, David Lemieux. Last week we said it. Now it's another name that's floating around. What about Amir Khan? Amir Khan getting knocked out by Triple G needs to come back and avenge his loss. What better way would be to go after a title against an aging veteran that goes to the distance, that many people don't think has a shot? Why not? Cotto is looking at this right now and going, is this really in front of me? Are all these opportunities really in front of me right now at my age?
And think about it too, is that Triple G and Canelo are expected to draw an expected gain of over $30 million. Why wouldn't Cotto be chomping at the bit for the possible that he would get a payday on his way out?
Right? That's what I'm saying.
And he's literally looking at this like a little kid.
Foaming at the mouth going, oh my God, I get this right now.
Is it Christmas? Come December, we'll find out. Because
Christmas may come early for Miguel Cotto in his farewell tour.
Because his final fight, his goodbye fight, his retirement fight, is scheduled to happen in December. You get one of those two, you get a payday, man. You tip your hat, you walk off, you hang your head high. Regardless of whether you win or lose, you made your money at least before you stepped away.
When you were looking at stepping away, the one guy that still apparently refuses to step away is Antonio Margarito. I just saw that his thing popped up and I was like, wait a second. Is that the Antonio Margarito?
Right.
Is he really still fighting? How is he still out there? Sure enough, 39 years old, coming walking in, and he's going to take on a journeyman, Carson Jones, in a boxing fight of 10 rounds. Like, why? Why is this guy still fighting? Makes no sense. He's long in the tooth. He's 3-3 in his last 6 fights. He was out of boxing for a year. He's facing, in our words, a puffed up middleweight. Or puffed up welterweight. So you look at this and you're wondering, well, how does this even benefit? I was like, come on. Like, this guy is taking fights upon fights. It's like watching Julio Cesar Chavez continue to box at the age of like 50. Like, when is enough enough? When do you phone it in and say, yo, pump your brakes, let's reverse that a little bit? But no. 10-round fight. Here we are. Carson Jones, Antonio Margarito. Like, this isn't going to be good. He's going to go to 3-4 in the last 7. We'll leave us scratching our heads like, why did this even happen? Maybe he'll put more clay in his gloves, and then we'll talk about that again, and he'll become relevant. It's one of those things that I guess when you're a fighter, you just fight wherever you can.
A lot of people in the boxing world, they just keep fighting, and they fight. That's where we saw Cleverly get beaten so bad, put into retirement. Badu Jack has an idea, though. He wants Adonis Stevenson.
He called out Adonis Stevenson after that fight because Andre Ward said, nah, dude. You're not worth my time. You're not going to bring...
Would he be worth your time, though? I mean, you're talking about Badu Jack, who has been
If Badu Jack,
irrelevant for the last 2 years.
if Badu Jack at light heavyweight is as real as he seemed the other night, then he will be relevant. But when you have a guy like Badu Jack who missed weight over and over again or struggled to make weight, that's the issues people have with him. So with him just stepping up to light heavyweight, if you're Andre Ward, there is no value in that. There is no point in that. But if you're calling out somebody and you knew that at the end of the day, Andre Ward was not going to give you the time and day, your only next shot across the bow was Adonis Stevenson. Because you have the opportunity to go to Adonis Stevenson in Montreal and fight him in his home turf, because he doesn't leave Montreal. He stays there.
And there lies another issue with boxers.
And
you want to fight me, you fight me in my hometown. But then you're against the judges, you're against the crowd, you're against everything that you try to avoid. When you're looking at Adonis Stevenson, I thought that this was the only play for him. Because he just moved up. He just fought a declining Clivery. He fought somebody that had a title to make it relevant. Going against Andre Ward is a dumb play. Because he would get destroyed by Andre Ward. Like, it wouldn't even be a matchup. So you give him what I would classify kind of as a tune-up fight.
And it's like,
against Adonis Stevenson.
And while everybody likes Adonis Stevenson, he's 39 years old.
Yep.
A lot of people have always talked about how good he is, but yet he missed his prime years by avoiding big-time fights and staying in Montreal to do majority of his fighters and fighting fringe fighters. He will fight the mandatory contenders, then he'll fight fringe. That's how he's done his boxing career. I'll fight who you tell me to fight. But then after that, I'll fight who I want to fight. And then go back and forth and avoid fighting the
true big-time fighters that are out there.
So while he called out Adonis Stevenson, and Adonis Stevenson says, yeah, you know what? Let's do this. You come to my turf, we'll do this. But again, let me pump your brakes a little bit. How does this benefit Adonis Stevenson, who's gone this far already, has his world title? How does it benefit him? It doesn't benefit him right now. But what does is that he's got nothing left to lose. He's got everything to gain. Yeah, you know what? Badu Jack has a WBA light heavyweight title. He could unify those titles. But if they can't meet on terms, then Badu Jack gets the worst fight of his career. Not to say that Adonis Stevenson can't beat Badu Jack, but power-wise, strategically, if it's the Badu Jack we saw, he'll beat up Adonis Stevenson.
Yeah, it's not a good matchup.
But the one guy he won't do is the mandatory WBA fight that is lying in the wings, Dmitry Bivol. Rising superstar stud, who is 26 years old, 11-0, 9 knockouts. The kid is phenomenal. He does everything that Badu Jack can, but better. You want to fight in the inside? Let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah, right.
You want to brawl? Let's go ahead and do it. This guy Dmitry will do that. So if you're Badu Jack, you're begging and pleading right now for Adonis and Steven to sign on that contract quickly before it is too late. You have to phone it in and take this fight against Bivol. You do that, Badu Jack's rise and looking very good.
It's going to come to a screeching halt. Poof. Just like that. Badu Jack's career, gone. If he gets that fight. Like, you don't want that fight. Like, the one fight you don't want that. Take a 39-year-old, say yes, I want that fight.
Who cares about the payday?
Right?
You want to keep your title and earn a unification bout? whatever gets presented in front of you right now,
Just
take
take
it.
it.
Just take it and call it a day.
You don't want that fight. You don't.
So this needs to be signed, sealed, and delivered, or then they just got to revisit it and say, you know what, I got to mentally prepare for myself for Bivol.
Right? But Sean, we're going to go to a break. A couple guys in the chat room. Josh Marr, he's in the chat room. I'm hungry. Give me more fights. Hopefully going to be coming back to California real soon. Brother.
Leave Georgia, even though it's probably the best thing that you did was when you went and started training.
Go to Georgia, get your head on right, and destroy the competition over there. Get better, evolve as a fighter. We're gonna bring it hard here in a few minutes. The Sports Warriors, the one-stop shop for all your combat sports talk needs and wants. There's no fluff, just real opinions. Real guys, real talk right here on Facebook, on YouTube. You can go to our website at www.ducrossbrothers.com. If you follow us, it's right here on our hats. Just type in Ducross Bros at Twitter. You can friend us, Sean and Tristan Ducross, if you're not friends with us. And you can also talk to us MMA on Fightbook MMA on their fan page. So trust me on that. It's some good time. We'll talk boxing, Muay Thai, you name it. We got it all day. But we support local MMA. Make no mistake about it. This is no different. September 3rd, California Cage Wars debuts. Here, our take on a couple of the fights on that card. And your boys have some news about it. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Sean and Tristan across the Sports Warriors. Check us out on Facebook Live and YouTube on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or you can visit our website at www.ducrossbrothers.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. We are going to drop the knowledge here in a minute.
I like how quick our breaks are. It's just so much fun.
Right? But we are the Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. Alongside, as always, is my brother, Sean Ducross. We do this every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you the real topics, the real highlights, the previews of MMA events, boxing events, you name it. We got you covered right here on the Sports Warriors. Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook Live. So like our page, the Ducross Brothers.
Stay updated with us.
There you go. In the meantime, California Cage Wars. It's coming September 3rd at Valley Center.
Cage Wars, it'll be headlined by the main event is Shad Smith versus Robbie Peralta. This is one of the most intriguing fight cards that I think we've ever been a part of. Well, one, because of the location. We won't touch on that one. But when you're looking at the fight card and you're looking at who's on it, and you look at it, you're like, really? This is one of them on multiple levels. Not because Shad Smith's record is chaotic, but it's an interesting story that we've touched on thousands of times. When it comes to mixed martial arts, everybody has a story. Everybody has a story that somebody can relate to. Everybody has a story about why they do what they do and why they fight. Shad Smith, 44 years old, 13-21. You look at that record and said, what the? But it's not his record so much that's the story. The story is the fact that this guy is the first openly homosexual in combat sports.
Yep.
Bravo for Shad Smith. Shad Smith has been through hell and back.
So almost literally being incarcerated to being out of prison to
fighting in unsanctioned fights to fighting in sanctioned fights. This guy had once what was a promising career, starting his career off 6-2, going through the rankings of King of the Cage. You would have thought that this guy had it all. Then he gets locked up. Then he comes back, and it seems like as if he fell on hard times. You would almost think that he's got an interesting story because when you look at his resume and you see that he lost 7 fights in a row, you're wondering if people want to touch him because of him coming out, or people want to touch him because he was incarcerated. It leaves you wondering, what if? Robbie Peralta comes off of a 4-fight losing streak. Recently fought in Brave. Fought in the UFC.
Yep.
Fallen on hard times. At some point, you got to be able to give these fighters an opportunity to right the ship. Figure it out. What the next avenue is. Well, at Cage Wars, September 3rd, 2 guys get to put on a show for the fans that maybe they didn't think they would have an opportunity. Or maybe one thought he was not going to get another opportunity ever again. Now we're looking at it, and here's Shad Smith getting the opportunity he never thought he would probably get. But at least you're going to get a good fight.
Yeah, because you know these 2 guys want to put on a show for the fans and just absolutely lay down the lumber. That's what you want to do. Robbie Peralta, 4 straight losses. Shad Smith was on a 7-fight losing streak. He snapped out his last fight. What I didn't like about what I read about Shad Smith was the fact that he almost killed a dude in an unsanctioned fight and decided to walk away.
Like a man.
Exactly, like a man. And the promoter had the gall to say you don't stop until the referee pulls you off or the referee tells you to stop. That's wrong. So I give Shad Smith all the respect for what he did to be able to walk away and say that this is permanent.
See, good, bad, or indifferent. See, when we started this journey on this, one guy we always wanted to interview from the time that we started this show to where we're at now, one person we always wanted to interview that we got the privilege to was Sir Parker.
Oh, absolutely.
When we got the chance to understand his story, watch his movie special, didn't get to interview him, that was a privilege and an honor to be able to say that we got a chance to speak to Sir Parker.
Dude, now we get to call him a friend. That's pretty cool.
When you look at Shad Smith, this is one of those weird opportunities that a guy's come full circle. We get to call that. We get to call this fight.
It almost feels like that this is something special brewing between Robbie Peralta versus Shad Smith. 2 fighters that were destined to do something with their careers, to be pulled back. Now we get to lift that veil, give them another platform at California Cage Wars, September 3rd. It's going down in Valley Center. If you haven't got your tickets, get your tickets. PromotionTickets.com, or just get on our fan page, or go to California Cage Wars fan page. You can get your tickets there. And then what's an interesting tidbit is then we go down the lines. And a fighter that I find very interesting is Michael Zahn versus Domingo Creel. I was looking at this. I was trying to figure this out. Here's a guy named Michael Zahn. Here's a guy that was a boxer at 4. Loved boxing at 4. Loved MMA at 11. Moved on to become an MMA fighter. Had other ideas about doing different things in his life to become where he is right now. Looking to become a world champion. Jumps on this opportunity on a platform to showcase his talent. Again, there are so many people out there that are fighters that don't have the platform to showcase their talent. There's plenty now for amateurs. There's just not enough for pro. 11 pro fighters are on this card. On pro fights on this card. It's a pro and amateur.
The only thing, though, that when I was looking at Domingo Creel, and we're probably saying his name a little bit wrong, is the dude looks like a serial killer.
He does, doesn't he?
He scared the bejesus out of me when I was looking at the poster. I was like, oh my God, I feel bad for Michael Zahn. But then I look and it's like, oh, wait, he's not that scary.
Dude, my only issue, though, is with this, I hope Michael Zahn has a good chin, because last time Domingo won, it's 7 seconds.
Gotta have a chin.
Because this dude's coming out
Chin
swinging.
down, hands up.
Yep. This fight has the makings of a firefight coming in on September 3rd.
Another guy that emerges on this card is Casey Ryan. We saw him fight for True Form Entertainment.
Been there.
He's now on this card. He's 7-3. I view this fight more of a showcase. Because the guy's won his last 6 won 6 fights out of his 7 via submissions.
Yep.
The guy's a rising star. The opponent he's fighting,
Not so much.
I think it's going to showcase that if you're looking for the ability to build another star or build somebody around, you can build around Casey Ryan, who's starting to figure it out a little bit. Fighting for World Series of Fighting, you name it. He's fought for the who's who of fights at this relatively young age. Then you go across to what we've been saying. Local MMA, support the amateurs. Well, we know one of them.
We've literally seen him fall on hard times,
Dust
pick himself up, change camps, go away for 8 weeks in Thailand, motivated himself to become a better fighter. And we always say, evolve as a fighter. If you want to become great, you want to be destined to do big things, you, my friend, embody that.
And that's Spike Carlisle.
Absolutely.
Spike Carlisle, when we first saw the guy, we're like, dude, this guy's raw strength. But the technique was a little off. He wasn't sound. He didn't have that much endurance.
And we always said that if he put 2 and 2 together, this guy was going to be the baddest man on the planet. Not to steal a line from the baddest man on the planet, Joe Warren. But I'm just saying, we keep it 100 right here. And the way that Spike fights, the minute he steps inside that cage, he leaves everything on the line.
He goes for broke about 90% of the time, and you're just, dude, somebody's going to catch you. And his record is an indication of him being a little bit widely aggressive or widely effective. And when you see where he's at now, I'm interested to see this fight, to see what he learned in Thailand. Because when you go to Thailand and you learn Muay Thai,
go to the best camp out there.
You go there and you come back, in theory, you should be more humble. You should be more patient. You should be more a student of the game because of the way they teach Muay Thai up in Thailand. That's what they embody over there. It's another type of Zen.
Isn't it?
And when you see this, I'm interested to see how Spike Carlisle is going to bring that aspect into his game. Is he going to be a little bit more reserved? Or is he going to still be the same Spike? I'm going to come out. I'm going to throw heavy hands. I'm going to throw heavy kicks. I'm going to try to shoot for a takedown in 2 seconds. Or are we going to see a little bit more patient? And what I think should happen is that this is one of the fights I was like, why would you be patient? Because the guy that is fighting is Gerardo Abanza. When we last saw him fight, was that he couldn't stop a takedown to save his life.
Right.
So if you're Spike Carlisle, it's like you just wasted the months you went to Thailand. Because in this, you might as well just take down the guy and just beat him up on the ground. But
when you're looking at these two guys, though, I think they're both making their pro debuts. And I think when you're looking at these two guys, Sean, all I see is fireworks potential in this fight.
Yeah, especially if
am I stupid for looking at this card and thinking that, well, that could be a mismatch, but dang, it could be a firefight.
And that's the thing is that we were talking about. Is like we were told no mismatches. We look on paper,
And
a lot of mismatches.
There's some mismatches.
But then when you dig a little bit deeper, you're like, I can kind of see why he did it.
Because then we keep looking at video footage and we're like, well, if he adapted this,
if he changed here,
then this might be a good fight in theory.
Yeah, so it's like, so it leaves you scratching your head going, what exactly we want to see on Sunday?
Right. Jordan Winsky versus Andrew Navidad, a 7-8 fighter versus a guy that is a top 40 featherweight. Joseph Phoebus is on this one because he's from Escondido Fight Club. Andrew Navidad better be a warrior because Jordan Winsky, he wants to run right through this kid and put him down.
And make a statement.
Absolutely.
But some of the rising stars on this card, like Brian DeMint from Team Quest.
Right.
Basically been the most irrelevant fighter from Team Quest.
You want to talk about
in the last year and a half.
Dude, you want to talk about a guy that's been dormant?
Yeah. And considering that when we saw him fight outside in Oceanside in his amateur debut with True Form Entertainment, this kid has it all. He has the height. He has the skill. He just needed to not fight a guy that was basically 4 inches shorter than him.
Right.
Because he would have won the fight and submitted the guy. But the guy could throw hands. He would also won
because with a head kick, too, if he wasn't so short.
So, you're looking for a rising amateur. Look no further than Brian DeMint.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just surprised he went out as long as he has. I get that he had a kid and he's been off doing his business endeavors. I get it. But now he's back, and I hope that he does it full time. That he throws himself into this and says, I am back, because I want to see how he continues to adapt and evolve, because I thought he was one of the standouts that was on the True Form card for the amateurs. He was one of the guys that stood out to me. He's like,
because we look for raw talent and see the potential at the end. And Brian DeMint, we see so much at the end and where he can go through with this. And you don't want to miss this card September 3rd. Like, there's 11 pro fights on this card. There are 5 amateur fights. That is 16 fights on this card. Joseph Phoebus and crew of California Cage Wars were stupid for this card.
It's going to be an interesting one.
And I mean stupid in a good term.
Right. But what I don't mean stupid in a good term is, what the UFC Fight Night 115. Stefan Struve versus Alexander Volkov.
Former heavyweight champion in Bellator. Now 2-0 in the UFC. Dude,
wait. There's a fight?
Dude, 6'11 versus 6'7.
Like, dude.
We finally get a guy that can look almost into the eyes
of Stefan Struve. But Stefan Struve called out Volkov in this fight saying, oh, I want to fight this guy. Why? Because he's 6'7"?
Right.
So you got 2 behemoths in the octagon? Okay. But Volkov is ranked 15 and Stefan Struve is irrelevant. So why are we even discussing this?
Because he says that he should be the next one in the heavyweight title contention against Miocic because he holds a victory over him.
Big deal.
Big deal. You haven't won a number 1 contenders fight in I don't even know how long. So
what I don't understand is that while this card is blah and suspect at best, why is Desmond Green relegated to the prelims? Can somebody explain that to me?
Desmond Green was on a main card, and now you relegate him to
the guy's on a prelim? The guy's on a 5-fight win streak. He's 20-5, facing a guy who's 21-3 on a 4-fight win streak. Yet they're on the prelims.
How do you go from being on a card to being irrelevant to being on an undercard? It makes absolutely no sense for the Predator because he has done everything he possibly could to become a top fighter in MMA, period. Wherever he has gone, he has done nothing but prove people wrong and win. And Desmond Green is on the outside looking in, and he won his first fight on a main card. And UFC, I just don't get it.
I get this is the card after the biggest boxing event in the history. But really, You couldn't figure out how to put on a little bit of a better card for the fight fans to draw interest back to the UFC? Come on now.
You went to sleep on that.
But LFA 21 goes to Missouri.
Where RFA made their home, I do believe, at one point.
And it's main evented by two undefeated heavyweights that are going to throw down with the best of them. Noblet versus Barajo. I think I got that one right.
12-0 combined between the two fighters.
Barajo has 4 knockouts in his 4-0. Hasn't even made it past the first round.
Kyle has 7 of 8 of his wins, all by finishes.
In the first round. Somebody's going to sleep.
And there's still questions. What's interesting, too, is that there's still questions on whether or not there's going to be a light heavyweight title on the line for this. They're still talking about it. Like, are we going to put a title on the line? Are we not going to put a title on the line? Just put a title on the line. LFA, you still want champions. Here's your opportunity. You got 12-0 between two fighters. Two fighters that probably won't get past the second round.
And then the other fight that you got to look at is that Katie Collins shows up.
I feel bad for this
7-2, trying to get a fight. Doesn't know who she's fighting until last week, where it gets announced that she's fighting Shannon Sin, who's 2-4, who makes you scratch your head about they're showcasing Katie Collins.
I wouldn't say it's really a showcase for Katie Collins. I feel bad for Katie Collins because she's 2-1 in Bellator. She's 7 fighters, Sean. 7. All have said yes and then no. Backed out of the fight against Katie Collins because they feared that it was a bad fight for them because she's a top bantamweight out there. Jenna McAllister was the last one, was number 7. She lasted a whopping 48 hours before she said, nope, I'm good. I'm out. The longest person to say yes to Katie Collins was 48 hours. And then they had to go get Shannon Sin. Shannon Sin, 3-5 or 7-2. Like, yo, you really terrified of Katie Collins? I mean, if you're Katie Collins, you're like, go ahead, I'll sign. Or in John Cena, go ahead, I'll wait. Go ahead, got all day, I'll wait. She pulled her best impersonation of John Cena for this fight card. Go ahead, I'll wait. I'm gonna fight. I'm happy that they gave her a fight, though. I don't think this bodes well for Shannon Sin.
It'll be over in the first round in less than a minute.
Yep. Then you got Grady Hurley versus Kevin Holland. I love this matchup on paper. It's really good, straightforward, smash mouth, in your face type of fight. Both guys, again, we're talking about Hurley 4-0 in his last 4 fights. You got Holland, who last time he was on an LFA card, he won via decision. He took a Muay Thai fight where he KO'd a dude. I mean, it's very intriguing matchup on paper. I look at Hurley to continue his win streak and run off a victory against Holland.
See, I think Holland's going to surprise somebody.
Because of his stand-up Muay Thai?
Yeah. Muay Thai guys, if they just come in clean,
yes,
there's just not a lot you can do to beat them on their feet.
Very true.
You've got to be able to take them down to the floor. So, my money's on Holland.
Yeah. But we're the Ducross Brothers. We're the Sports Warriors. We do this every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on Facebook. Like our fan page, facebook.com/the Ducross Bros. It's right here on our hats. You can follow us, add us, Sean and Tristan Ducross. We'll talk combat sports all day.
Don't be scared. We don't bite.
Right? www.ducrossbrothers.com for all the latest news and happenings. Until next time, I'm Tristan Ducross. That's my brother, Sean Ducross. We're the Sports Warriors, the Ducross Brothers. We're out of here until next time.